What's up, everybody? It's Terry Grassetti. Thanks for tuning into our YouTube page today. Today we're going to do our first installment of how to become a professional football player. This is step one. There's going to be 5 steps. If you're a college football player, it will help you get ready to play at the next level. So step one, this is the most important thing that you're going to need to have in your repertoire to be a college football player that translates into an NFL football player. You have to have the game film. You have to have film that shows that you can play at a high level. Now, you'll go through testing and you'll go through all that stuff, but ultimately, if you don't have the film, it's very hard for scouts to take a look at you and come to your pro day originally. Keys that you have to focus on during the season. You have to make sure that you play extremely hard. And regardless if you're a Division I, Division II, Division III player, on film, it doesn't lie. They say the eye in the sky doesn't lie. So everything that you do is going to be on film. So you have to make sure if you're a receiver on backside plays, you're running hard. Linemen, you don't take plays off, especially if you're on the D-line. Linebackers, they're looking for relentless football players. That's something that's not coachable, and all coaches really appreciate that. Number 2, they're going to look for you to perform on special teams well. They're going to look because 9 times out of 10, unless you're a first-round draft pick, you're going to make the team because of special teams. You have to make sure you have experience on special teams, and you have to make sure that you're ready when you do get to camp or you do get to OTAs or mini camp, that you know the terminology and you've played special teams before. If you're coming from Division III, you have to be sure that your film is very, very, very good. Now, it's just because the level of competition. It's not because you're not a good player, or if you're coming from Division II, same thing. It's not that you're not a good player, but when I talk to scouts on a yearly basis, they have a hard time rating guys or judging how good players are based off their competition. When I was coming out, I had a scout from the Steelers tell me, Terry, you're coming out of a Division II school. If I bring you in to work out and you look bad, it looks bad on me because you're a Division II football player. If I bring a Division I wide receiver in from Penn State and he does bad, at least as a scout, I can say this kid played at Penn State and he has the game film to back it. So you have to make sure that, especially if you're a Division III, Division II football player, you're playing extremely well and you have to have a lot of the stats to back it. You have to make sure when you're fortunate enough to play against another player from another school, you have to really make sure you ball out because they're going to be watching, scouts will be watching that guy. And if you play extremely well against him, it really helps your case. I referenced earlier stats. Stats are really important, but you don't necessarily have to have the stats. I trained a wide receiver from Georgia Tech. He was actually Calvin Johnson's backup about 10 years ago. He had absolutely no stats in college, but he was a great kid, he was a great teammate, and he was an unbelievable special teams player who tested extremely well. That guy ended up playing 5 years in the NFL and had absolutely 0 college football stats. So sometimes you might be playing in an offense or a defense that doesn't really highlight what you do well. It's irrelevant. You have to make sure you do what that defense asks you to do well, and then whenever you get a chance, hopefully your pro day, or if you get signed, then you have a chance to really show what you can do. After the season, when you're putting together a video of all your highlights, guys, you don't want the video to have explicit rap songs during it. You can put music during it, that's fine, but you want to make a 5 to 10 clip highlight film of your best plays during your career. It doesn't have to be your senior year. It could be plays from your freshman year that really highlight who you are as a player. I think too many times guys put together these highlight films that they want to look back on and be like, oh, this is my career. I had 5-10 minutes of highlights. That's great. But a 5-yard out, if you're a receiver, should not be on your highlight film. Okay, it needs to be splash plays that really highlight who you are as a player, and so a scout can just pop it on their phone, watch it, and then they can kind of see, okay, this kid can play, this kid has breakaway speed, this kid can hit, this kid's a relentless player, he made an insane special teams tackle, this is a guy that we need to take a look at. So cut it down, it's always better. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That was part 1 of the series. Next week, I'm going to go over the understanding the off-the-field aspect of becoming an NFL player. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.